Hey everyone, it's me Lone. I hope you've been doing alright. Over the past few weeks, we haven't been seeing much official news or information come out about Starfield at all, aside from the fact that at some stage this year, we are getting a dedicated showcase for the game. In fact, if you go to all the social accounts for Starfield and Bethesda Game Studios, really they've gone radio silent. We haven't heard from them at all recently. So as a result of all of that, there has been a noticeable uptick in rumors and oftentimes fake leaks come out about the game. Stuff that, as I admitted in my last video, I've been getting caught up in as well. So in the midst of all of that, it is really nice when someone that does have credibility and does have a good track record in the industry for reporting on things like this actually does come out and provide us with some information about Starfield that we can work with and talk about, especially when it comes to the release date of this game, because as we all know, that is the big elephant in the room that we all want to know about. When is this game actually releasing? And I'm talking about none other than Jez Corden. Jez Corden has come out recently and said some things about Starfield's release date that he's heard from sources that I think we really need to talk about in this video. As always, take these things with a grain of salt, but Jez Corden is very much credible. He's come out on multiple occasions with things that have turned out to be true after the fact, especially when it comes to Xbox and Bethesda matters. So when this guy says something, you need to listen. So let's talk about what he said in today's video. If you enjoy it, please do like it. I would really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new and consider joining my Discord. The link is in the description below. But let's get to what Jez has said. So on the latest episode of the Xbox 2 podcast, Jez was asked in a super chat whether he thought Bethesda Game Studios could actually tie Starfield's launch date to a day like April 12, which is actually the International Space Flight Day. And as a side note, I've always liked this speculation. It does feel like a very Todd thing to do. But anyways, in response to that, Jez said the following: I think Starfield's going to drop in June. Even though I've got a bet that it gets delayed beyond June, I think the latest information I've got suggests June to me, but we'll see. Now, after that, there were a few websites that came out and reported on what Jez had said, and pretty much said it was official that it was a leak, that he's definitely heard information from insider sources that have told him stuff about Starfield's release date. And maybe it's because I'm being more careful after everything that's gone on, but on first reading and listening to what Jez had actually said, I wasn't so sure he was actually saying this is what people have told me. I thought there was a chance he could have just been speculating, like we all have been speculating, based on public info when he actually thought Starfield was actually going to come out. He even said that he had a bet that he thought the game was going to be delayed beyond June, right? Beyond the first half of this year, which is all we really know officially at this stage. So I wasn't sure, and I could have easily come out here and made a video covering both sides and said for all of you to be careful, it could just be Jez's speculation. But I thought, why not just message the man and see if he would say anything about this? And he actually did get back to me. He was really cool about it. So I messaged Jez and just asked him, hey, was this your speculation? Like, what was this comment actually about? And this is what he said to me that I can say in this video. So he confirmed to me that yes, he had been hearing June. Yes, he was confident about the sources telling him the June release date. However, it was not backed by enough evidence for him to do a full report, i.e. on Windows Central. So let me repeat. This wasn't just random speculation, based on public information, stuff like I've done. I've said June release date before based on publicly, known information. And I thought that's what Jez might have been doing here, but no, that's not the case. He had been here in June from sources. He was confident about these sources telling him the June release date, but it just wasn't backed by enough evidence to do that full report on Windows Central, the stuff that Jez Corden is very much known for. He does some great articles on there. You should definitely read what he has to write about on Windows Central. But that's what he said to me that I can share. So, based on that, it seems like June could actually shape up to be a nice release date or month for Starfield. I think I've said this multiple times and I'll repeat it again. I think the days of Starfield potentially releasing before Redfall are gone. Redfall is, in my opinion, almost certainly coming first. I don't think Starfield's coming before that. We still don't know much about Starfield. We have all this information about Redfall and a release date. Surely Starfield cannot release before Redfall. I think that game's going to come out first, right? But the big question was, is it still going to be first half of this year? And if it was, it would have to be late May or sometime in June, right? So based on what Jez has been hearing, it could actually be a June release date, which lines up with what I've been saying about June. I've long predicted that the game's going to be coming out on the 6th of June because it still works, it's 6/6, etc., etc. But let's talk about a few things that might actually go against the June release date. Many people have constantly said that June is probably a terrible time for Bethesda Game Studios to release this game, especially because that June 6th date that I mentioned is a day that Diablo is actually coming out, which is a massive game, huge competition to Starfield. So is June actually a good date? Would they risk Starfield by releasing it in June, which is not a good month for it? I would like to say that if Todd had his way and if the stars were aligning, he would have released it last year in November, right? He would have had that first 11/11 release date. Everything was pointing to that. That was the perfect release date. But since they had to delay the game because the game was not in the right shape, that goes out the window. Now they have to work with what they're given, almost, in my opinion anyways. If Starfield by June is in the stage where they can release it and there is no point in them holding onto the game any longer, then they should release it, even if June might not be the best release date publicly, right? And even in terms of optics, Xbox promised that all the games that they were talking about in their showcase last year, the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase, where Starfield was showcased, they promised that all those games were coming out in the first half of 2023, right? And if they don't meet that expectation, that is not a good look. It is not good optics for Bethesda or for Xbox. So even because of that as well, the June release date kind of has to happen, otherwise people are going to crap on Bethesda. So even though it's not perfect, I agree that it's not perfect, they might still have to release the date in June. Now that being said, it can still be delayed. If the game still isn't ready by June, absolutely it should get delayed. It's going to cost them a bunch more money to do so. But yeah, then that makes sense to release it. But what I'm to delay it, sorry. But what I'm saying is that if they don't need to hold on the game for another 5 or 6 months, which is going to cost them hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. If they don't need to do that, why would they do that? That would probably cost them more in the end, I believe, than releasing the game in June when it's not particularly the best month. And I would still kind of question whether it is like, I think they're going to be fine. Starfield's going to be massive. Bethesda Game Studios is massive. Everyone knows that this is one of the biggest title releases of this year. I think pretty much no matter when they release this game, it's going to be fine. But yes, November would have been better, but they didn't get that date in the first place, right? So that's what Jez has been hearing. I still think it's June as well. But even as Jez said, he's still got a bet that he might actually be delayed beyond June. And we shouldn't be surprised by that. I've said before as well that it's been delayed once. Don't be surprised if it's delayed again. I really hope that it's not delayed again because June is an exciting date for me. Like, it lines up nicely with my plans for this year. I want to go on a holiday, Todd. I hope it's June. I hope they confirm that as soon as possible. But if it is June, I will say this. If it is June, right, I think they do need to come out and eventually confirm when this Starfield Direct showcase is happening, to actually start a nice build-up towards that potential June release date. Hopefully we get the Starfield showcase next month. Hopefully we get the announcement for that showcase later this month. And then they're like, yep, it is June, maybe 6th of June, and then we just go full ball to that release date. I think Starfield's going to be fine, even though it's a bit of an icky month. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this speculation? Again, take it always with a grain of salt, as I've said. But this is Jez Corden here. We should really listen to what he's had to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think June is a crappy release date for Starfield? But until next time, this has been Lone. Please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.